When we started, everything was done by hand, rich or poor. My generation saw the horse-drawn sickle bar mower take over from the hand scythe, saw electricity come in and replace kerosene for light and the hand pump, saw steam engines replace horsepower or water power, saw the automobile replace the horse-drawn buggy, even saw the airplane. And of course, we got central heat, so we didn't have to work with wood.
There was a time, well, just about the time the snow went off the ground, they had a wood pile that they sawed up, split, and got into the shed. As soon as you could start working on the land, they were hauling manure out and spreading it and plowing it. By the last of April, they would start planting some things like early potatoes and peas.
Most would like to get the peas in by the middle of April anyway, to get them for 4th of July.
That's the big thing in spring planting, and those are in the home garden. What's grown for people. I work in there, and I take care of the lambs.
Well, the first thing I remember doing would be try to get the young stock. That's not the milking cows, but the young stock.
Out in the pasture. To do that, you have to check your fencing, bite with black flies.
March 28th, spread manure. Baby fell off the table. Maple sap all done. March 30th, got a load of sawdust to cover ice. April 5th, spread ashes.
There was no commercial fertilizer in those days, and they didn't have enough manure to go around. They ran a lot of young cattle in pens and sheep. You could say I keep the animals primarily to keep the land, the fertility of the land up. Or you could do a pretty smooth job at spreading manure with a dung fork.
Haul it into the field. 2 of us haul it into the field with a tip cart and put it into small piles. And a man stays right in the field and spreads it.
May 5th, Jim Doe's wife had a child. Emma had to go down about 4 a.m. May 9th, sowed barley. May 22nd, sold 3 bushels seed potatoes and planted potatoes. Doc went fishing in the river and gave me a mess of pickerel and trout. May 28th, planted B.B. Plummer's corn.
Everybody grew enough for all their needs. You had your livestock in the barn. You had chores to do 7 days a week. This added quite a bit of time, took up quite a bit of time. Everybody was in the same pickle. We helped each other out. Anybody got in trouble, why, the neighbors always stepped in and helped. It was a good life. Everybody knew what his neighbor was and what condition he was in and would look after him if he needed to be.
And haying would be a lot of help.
All the farmers from around come with their teams and work together getting in hay at one farm after another. There are 5 or 6 days on a big farm. And when that's done, we go pick berries.
Around the 80s, the first mowing machines come out, but not everybody had them. And they mowed the hay and raked it. They mowed it in the morning in good weather, raked it in the afternoon along towards night and caulked it up in big caulks. And it cured a lot in those caulks. And of course it didn't take near the dew that it would have if it had been all spread out. So in July they would cut the hay, the upland hay. By August the meadows would be dried out so they could get down onto them.
Some of them, they mow with hand size, and there's a lot of hay to cut in the meadows. They can put in hay pretty fast. The men know how to handle it, and they use horse forks that draw it up into the mow, with horse going out and pulling on the cable.
Well, then they went from cutting the grain, and that was all done with hand size. I've mowed buckwheat, and we would cut it with the size and then put it in little small bunches. And when it was good and dry on one side, we'd turn those bunches over. Then when that was dry, then you could haul it in and thrash it. And then, of course, there was a fall plowing.
August 21st, mowed the first of the barley. September 10th, cut some oats. Cut Doe's corn, first half. September 16th, finished cutting my corn, picked apples.
After the hay was cut, everybody turned their sheep loose. Then they went from grain to potato digging and gathering in the garden squash and pumpkins. And a lot of farmers up in that country used to raise a lot of pumpkins to feed out the cattle.
September 19th, dug 30 bushels of potatoes. September 28th, got everything out of the small garden but carrots and shell beans. October 3rd, collected pumpkins.
300 jars of canned goods you'd have for the winter. And then, of course, drawing of your potatoes, carrots, beets, because would be able, a lot of them would be stored in, well, packed pretty well in sand to keep quite a while. And then, of course, your apples, in the cellar, they would keep pretty good for about Christmas time. But back then, they would have a potato bin
And fill that up with potatoes, and they stay pretty well through the winter. The pumpkins and squash we keep in a warmer, drier place, and they stay pretty good until spring. But all the effort in the fall is to getting things in and ready for winter. The women generally spend a lot of time mending winter clothes and quilts and blankets for those cold carriage rides to school.
My father raised a lot of turnips for sheep, and we used to feed them to cattle. Turnips were the last thing that you'd harvest in the fall. They even needed it was good to let them freeze in the ground. You didn't want to pull them when the ground was frozen. And then about the time of the first snow, they would have a big roundup. Everybody would get together and they'd round up the sheep and they would sort them out. They were earmarked for identification.
December 1, put on double windows, killed 2 pigs. December 14, first snow, broke roads 3.5 hours. December 18th, logging, fixed ice house.
Because you did a lot of lumbering in the winter when you could get your logs out, your horses could get into the woods. The logs were hauled out, and there would be the box cars, and they would ship the lumber logs out.
That's one of the things, we had to do in those days. We had to cut our own ice.
They come in 2 to 3 foot squares, and they're packed in sawdust. The sawmills are nearby where we get the sawdust, and we pack our ice in the sawdust. That keeps it, but we don't keep much ice in our little ice box in the kitchen. A lot of our eating is a lot of chowder, potatoes, salt pork, and we kill a hog or a cow and hang it in the barn and cut off what we need and hope we don't get a warm spell.
In this vicinity, everybody worked cutting ice. That was one of the easiest ways of learning and earning money to pay taxes. There was a lot of people who had their own individual ice houses that would get ice for their own use.
My folks have an ice house and cut ice, and they have a school team that takes kids to school. We picked up a milk route with that of about 100 bottles of milk. One of my jobs on the way to school is delivering the milk. And when I get home at night, I wash about 100 milk bottles, plus keeping the fires built up with logs and helping with the younger children.
January 14th, 26 below zero, got out 3 loads of logs. January 20th, broke road to the old meadow. January 28th, big snow, big roller broke, used sled-a-log to break roads for 6 hours. February 10th, got out 6,123 feet with 3 teams, 4 trips, having lambs.
We didn't have the facilities to remove snow. And about every farmer, when we had a bad storm, would hook on a team of horses and possibly to try to help remove snow on his section of the road.
There was considerable snow, and the big roller started out here with this first pair of horses. The plumbers were the second pair of horses, and by the time they got down to my house, we were the 5th pair of horses.
March 5th, lots of sap. March 8th, sleds down in the woods. Used B.B. Plummer's oxen to get them out. March 16th, cleared away the banking and cleared up around the buildings.
Farmers cut their own wood, sold wood in towns, and so that was the winter's work. And then they got their wood pile up and split it up, sawed it during the mud season.
I can remember what it was like.
Out back in the fields or in the woods, falling down with a couple pails of sap on a yoke. I didn't spill any sap, but I had trouble getting back on my feet. But I made it without spilling any sap.
March 26, too much rain. They say $2,000 will not fix the roads. March 30, spread manure and ashes. April 8th, harrowing for corn. April 17th, plowed garden, peas in. April 21st, boys hiked up the mountain.